All right, welcome back to unpl week 7. We are facing Zand and his super scary team. Um, we're doing post-com again. Had some audio issues, but yeah, our opponent is really strong. They've also got a super strong team. We can see that they brought magearna and Roaring Moon, like kind of unwallable. They also have Gliscor, my favorite Pokemon ever. Love Gliscor. Hate it this week. Huge pain for my team to deal with. And yeah, I don't look forward to dealing with that. We also see Ursaring. Makes sense. It's a Giratina counter. Hydrapple, that's their Terra. They did announce that they're going to be Terra Bug on the Hydrapple. So hopefully we'll be able to do something with that. And they also have Quackable, which is a pretty nice check to some of the stuff that I have, especially that water type. So we are going to decide to lead with Rotom Heat here. Hopefully we can threaten something immediately with a nasty plot. If, for example, they lead with Protect Gliscor, that was the hope. And we've Overheat and Volt Switch to just do a bunch of everything else, and then we have a Hex set to be able to hopefully deal a little bit better with that Gliscor. We're coming up on playoffs. Zand is definitely a person that we could see ourselves facing again, I think, for sure. So hopefully we don't have to prep for this team again, because it was a big pain in the butt. I think I'm eating during this video too. I was eating some peaches. But we are going to lead with our Rotom, see what we can get going. Best case here would be a Gliscor lead. Unfortunately, they don't lead Gliscor. They lead Roaring Moon, which is one of the worst leads I think we could have expected to see here. We debate what to do. I think we end up going for a Volt Switch because we don't have Wisp on this Mon, so we're not going to be able to burn it. And we don't really have a safe switch in here, especially if it's Dragon Dance. Like, Aloe kind of deals okay, but not super well. So we are going to go for a Volt, scout out what the set is, and unfortunately we get crit turn 1. So now we don't know if it's Choice Band or not. We wouldn't have died if it was not Choice Band. So a little unfortunate. They are also going to see that we are Heavy Duty Boots, and at this point we're like, crap, what do we do? Well, I think we go into Iron Hands, because Iron Hands is able to 1 versus 1 this thing. We are Terra Fairy, so we can immediately take it out with a Terra Blast. And the Roaring Moon can't stay in, so it's going to be a matter of what they go into. Here's where I make a little bit of a risky call. I predict that, knowing how Gliscor users like to play, and being a Gliscor user myself, I think, well, what they're probably going to do here is they're probably going to go into Gliscor. They know I don't get knockoff. They know they can get their Toxic Orb activated, and if they're physically defensive, then even if I go for a Terra Fairy Terra Blast, it's not going to do enough to where they can't like protect and then get all their health back because it's a Gliscor. So I do decide to make the hard read and click Ice Punch, hoping that Gliscor comes in. Also, we are going to find out if the Roaring Moon is Choice Band here, because if they're U-turn, then they'll of course click U-turn here. But at this point, we're just praying that they don't go into magearna, because magearna is also a safe switch into Terra Blast Fairy. So hopefully they don't go into magearna. But they do U-turn out. They reveal that they are not indeed a Choice Band or Choice Scarf set, and now they basically think about what they're going to go into here. I kind of thought that I was already behind, so I needed to make a little bit of a risky play, losing Rotom Heat turn 1, which was probably my best immediate way of dealing with magearna. Definitely hurts. So I needed to make up some momentum, and clicking a move that does 50% of Gliscor is like the opposite of how you generate momentum. So I pretty much wanted to try and nab it with an Ice Punch, get a little bit lucky with a read here, and see what they ended up going into. They definitely considered it for a while. I'm excited to watch my opponent's side of the battle and see what they decided to go into. But they do end up going into Gliscor, so we are able to make the correct prediction, and we also get rewarded with what has to be the 15th freeze I've seen in UNPL so far this season, which is actually really annoying, because if they would protect, then they probably could have just protected, gone magearna on the Ice Punch, and then healed back to full. But because the Gliscor's frozen, it's pretty much as good as gone right now. I think our opponent probably realizes that, and they are going to choose to just give it up here. We do go for Terra Blast Fairy. It's a little bit safer if they decide to go into maybe something like a Quackable. Not that I would ever see them doing that. I think that they pretty much always give this up, but I just didn't want to Ice Punch into magearna. because it was going to do no damage. Not like Terra Blast is going to do much more. Anyway, we are able to take out the Gliscor. Sorry, Gliscor. We'll get you another time. And bring it back to 5/5. It's another crit, by the way. A lot of crits this game. So Gliscor being on is super, super fantastic. It definitely helps with stuff like for stuff like Iron Treads that have a little bit more viability now that Protect is no longer something that they can just use to stall out everything indefinitely. Definitely a lot of things still a problem though. The Terra Bug Hydrapple, I'm not really sure how I'm going to get rid of that, especially after it Terras. It's just a big problem. Magearna, of course, being at full health, super scary, and I don't have Rotom anymore to deal with it. So it's pretty much going to be down to Iron Treads. And if they're, for example, something like Shuckaberry Weakness Policy, then it's going to be not great. Or Air Balloon. So, yeah, Magearna, Quackable, Roaring Moon, Gliscor, Terra Hydrapple. Shouldn't have allowed this. Zan's going to go pretty far with this team, I think. But the Magearna does come in. We can't stay in here and eat like a super strong move, but it's also going to be difficult for us to switch out. So we are definitely aware of the fact that they could be weakness policy. And if they were weakness policy, that's immediately like a huge problem. But we do click Earthquake. That is our best way of hitting it. We see Shift Gear, which is scary because it means it's a setup set, and it means that they could definitely be weakness policy and a little bit more physical because they can afford to invest in bulk knowing that their speed's going to go up. So we do click Earthquake. We do see that it's reasonably bulky, and we do see the weakness policy proc. So the Magearna is now going to be +2 attack, +2 special attack, +2 speed, +3 attack. So definitely not something that we want to mess around with. We end up going into Iron Treads, expecting to see some sort of potentially Draining Kiss set. And because we've got booster energy, we should naturally be faster and be able to scare this out. Now, this only works once. The next time Magearna comes back in, it'll be faster than us if it goes for a Shift Gear. But at the same time, its weakness policy boost is gone, and it'll come in at much less health. So we are able to scare out the Magearna. The problem with this is that the Hydrapple can come in for free because we have to click Earthquake here. We don't really have a choice other than to mess around. But we look and we see that we've got Substitute. So Substitute actually kind of is a decent mid-ground. If we expect them to switch out, we can get a sub off. If they do stay in, then Earthquake's always going to take it out afterward. So we should be fine here to go for a sub and to scout what likely the switch is going to be. I was expecting to kind of see a Hydrapple here, against which we could just click Ice Spinner and then see if it Terra Bugs. We also don't do too much damage to Terra Bug Hydrapple, which is also kind of a problem. But they do bring in the Hydrapple. We are able to go for sub. Oh, we click Earthquake. Never mind. So we click Earthquake against Magearna. Okay, safe play. And on this, we sub. Now we wanted to sub because we wanted to see if it was going to Terra. Hydrapple does get Earth Power, so if it does click that, it will be able to take us, take our sub out. Giga Drain probably also does the same thing. But we're debating. And debating more. And I think we decide to end up clicking sub because we are willing to exchange some of our health for figuring out a little bit more about what this Hydrapple is. At this point, we don't really know too much. We know that it could still be AV. And it looks like they're trying to scout too. So I wonder if they were trying to scout for Ice Spitter, but we are able to get behind a sub here. They make a nice play into Quack, and we are sub. So now we can pretty much get in a free Earthquake. Nothing on their team really wants to take an Earthquake other than Hydrapple, which we can then hit with an Ice Spinner, and we're kind of in the same situation as we were before. So we do click Earthquake. It does bring Quackable down below half health, but unfortunately they have Flip Turn, which is not what I was hoping to see. I was hoping to see something like Aqua Step or Close Combat, which would keep us in against this and have a free turn for us to click another move. but they're going to be able to get that momentum back, and they go right back into Hydrapple, I think. Not Magearna. Ursaring is also starting to look pretty scary. It is a ghost immunity, and especially if it's some sort of bulk upset, it can do pretty well with the rest of my team because Giratina can't really just click Draco into it. So, bit problematic. They do go back into Hydrapple. They know that we probably have Ice Spinner, but if they tear a bug, then there's not really too much we can do to that. Earthquake's going to bounce off. Ice Spinners is also. So we do expect the tear at this point. And we make the decision to switch out our Iron Treads and then go back into our AV Iron Hands. They go for Giga Drain in non-terrid form. Now's when I think they're for sure going to Terra, because we've got a free Terra Blast into whatever we want. Because Moon certainly doesn't want to take a Terra Blast. Quackable can't take a Terra Blast. Ursaring doesn't really want to take one either. And Magearna can, but then Magearna is in against this, and we can just click Earthquake. So we're definitely at the point where I don't think it makes much sense for them not to Terra, because they still do resist ground. And it gets rid of that nasty 4x Ice weakness and also their fairy weakness. But they are thinking about it. I wonder if they were debating if we would click like an ice move or something. I don't know. It seems like it would always be the right play to Terra here, which they end up doing. Maybe they were just deciding what move to click. Terra Bug Hydrapple. I don't know how I'm going to kill this thing. Looks cool, though. An apple. It's like a worm in an apple. I guess that's what Hydrapple is generally. Now it's literally a worm in an apple. Anyway, we go for Terra Blast. We do a good chunk on a crit. And we see that they are Citrus Berry. They then go for a Giga Drain, and they crit us right back, which is kind of funny. So definitely getting some health. And at this point, we think, well, this game's not looking too hot. But we can at least try and chip this down a little bit more with our Terra Blast, so that once we go out, we can maybe come in and do something back. But since it has Regenerator, I'm kind of looking at this and thinking there's no way that we can ever kill this Terra Bug Hydrapple anymore. That's another thing that having Rotom would have been super nice for. Overheat would have cooked it. Especially since we know that it's not Salt Vest. Yeah, but let's go ahead and take this out. Or do as much damage as we can. Alright, so it's down to like 55%, and then we get crit again by Giga Drain. I think literally 3 crits in a row. Back and forth. But our Iron Hands is gone. Our Rotom Heat is also gone. We're left with a passive Alomomola, which like can't really do anything to anyone. Scarf Darkrai, Iron Treads, and then Giratina, which is kind of looking more and more like it's going to be walled by that Ursaring. We have no way to kill this Hydrapple. Like I think that it could probably, especially if it has Recover, just stay in and 1v1 us. But I think at this point we decide that our best chance of winning the game is going into Giratina and trying to like get some paralysis hacks, because we're never going to be able to take it out with Iron Treads. Darkrai is too weak, and it gets taken out by like any of the moves that Hydrapple wants to go for, especially if it is Terra Blast, and then we just go for a Thunder Wave, which now I realize is a grave mistake, because we are literally Thunder Waved into Guts Ursaring, which is not a good play here. Not a good play. But we have no answer for the Ursaring, because all we can do is click Draco against it. And it can set up if it's Crunch, if it's something like Play Rough, and especially if it's Rest, which makes sense if it's going to be like Eviolite with Guts, then we're completely screwed. But our opponent's trying to decide whether it makes sense to switch out. It does. Or stay in and eat potentially Draco Meteor. We could also be Calm Mind. There's no reason we couldn't be Calm Mind here. Or a more physical set. I don't really know if those do anything to Ursaring either, but yeah, they definitely don't want to give up Hydrapple, I don't think. And they end up making the switch out into Ursaring, which pretty much walls all the things that we're trying to go for here. So we do give it a 1.5x attack boost, assuming it's Guts. And at this point, we basically decide, all right, well, we're probably going to lose this game, but we can try and take down their Ursaring, maybe get it some Rocky Helmet chip, go into Aloe, and then like flip turn out, do some trolling. Player off comes out, does a lot of damage. We realize that we've activated Guts. And at this point, we know that if they're Rest and they're Bulk Up, there's not much we can do. But if they're not, then maybe we can wear it down a little bit. So we debate Flip Turn. We debate Alluring Voice. We end up clicking Flip Turn. We are going to be faster. And we go into Giratina, trying to hope that he just clicks like Facade or something. But either way, we'll take a little bit more damage once we click Draco. They go for Bulk Up, which now makes me convinced that they have Rest. So they've got Play Rough, Bulk Up. And our only way of doing damage to this is by clicking Draco Meteor. Like Hex isn't going to do anything, and then going back to Aloe to do 5% isn't worth it either. So we click Draco, and then we basically click Draco until we die and try and revenge kill with Darkrai. But Scarf Darkrai is so weak that I'm not even sure if it'll take it out with Eviolite. And then if it is Rest, it's pretty much game over. So Play Rough does an absolute ton of damage to us. We debate going back into Aloe for a little bit more chip. We also debate clicking Draco again, maybe hoping for a crit and hoping they don't have Rest. There's also Hard Darkrai if we expect either a Rest or a full Paralysis. But we're kind of banking on some luck at this point. We end up clicking Draco again, hoping that they either don't Rest, don't have it, or we get a crit. But they do reveal that they have Rest. So, not looking good because now we've got a -4 Giratina in that can't do anything to this Ursaring. And an Ursaring that's Guts boosted Play Rough. Doesn't really have any great switch-ins anymore other than Iron Treads, which has already gotten weakened. It would have been super nice to have Rotom Heat against Mono Play Rough Ursaring, but we definitely got that taken down earlier than we would have wanted. We do end up switching out Giratina because at this point we know it's not going to be doing anything. And we decide to go into Darkrai because if he's not Sleep Talk, then we can click Focus Blast a few times. And then if he is Sleep Talk, we can always hope to get the right rolls. And they do reveal it to be Sleep Talk. But the first time, they just get another Bulk Up, which not amazing, but not the worst either. At this point, Play Rough's going to take out pretty much everything that we have. We do decide to go for Focus Blast. If we are able to hit both Focus Blasts, then I'm hoping that we can take out the Ursaring, but we missed the first one. So that's immediately not gonna help. They do go for Sleep Talk again, and I think they pull another Rest. So we're back at a neutral state, but we know that the Ursaring is going to wake up this turn and click Play Rough and just immediately take us out, and we don't have an answer for that anymore. So we decide to go for another Focus Blast. We are able to hit this time. We need a crit, and we don't get a crit. So if we had been able to land both of those and the Ursaring had not pulled a non-attack move both times, then we might have been able to take this out. But again, that was kind of a 50-50 either way, and that crit certainly didn't matter. This point, we're kind of screwed here. We don't really have anything that can take this out. I think we decide to go into Giratina and click Draco Meteor, but they definitely make the smart play here. Save diff. Don't give up anything when they don't have to. Um, and yeah, they don't let the Sorcerer go down. They pretty much always have a safe switch anyway out of this. But yeah, really well played to our opponent. Bulk up Ursaring with Rest was great. Losing Rotom Heat turn one wasn't a smart idea on my part. I didn't have a great lead into Roaring Moon, other than Alamomola. But if they were DD knockoff, then they could have really done a lot of damage to us, and we didn't have great ways to revenge. Although it probably was a better idea to just go hard into Aloe. I don't think that was the right play. Anyway, Victor comes out. That's going to be the Magearna, expecting Draco. They call us correctly, and then this time their shift gear play is just going to clean up the game for us. So we know that this is pretty much over. We go into Iron Treads again, hoping that they don't have a fighting move and might be able to Earthquake them. But after the shift gear, they should be faster than us. It's a really cool animation. This does take us to 5-2 in the season. We are going to drop to second place, but playoffs are pretty much locked in, I think. What are we debating here? If we're somehow faster and get a flinch, either way, we're slower and they take us out with Aura Sphere. So Aura Sphere, Draining Kiss, Shift Gear, and there's nothing more we can do, because this thing is faster than Giratina, and then Alamomola has no way to deal with this Pokemon. Yeah, absolutely none. So I think we decide to go for a ton of luck if we get an Alluring Voice para. Oh no, we flip turn. Okay. Maybe we flip turn for a little chip, sacrifice Giratina, and then go for the Alluring Voice. Definitely our worst loss of the season. Really well played to Zan. Again, I'm not excited about having to potentially face this team again in playoffs. Super good. What are we doing here? I wonder if they're deciding whether to click Shift Gear again because I could have Mirror Coat. Probably. They haven't really seen me do much of this Aloe. Yeah, they click Shift Gear again. I think they probably wanted to make sure that they could take me out in one hit, because they saw me probably beat Iron Valiant with that before. Anyway, we click Flip Turn. We don't Mirror Coat. And let's go sack Giratina. And then I would guess at this point they probably assume that we don't have Mirror Coat because we would have clicked it there. I don't know what we're doing here. Just kind of messing around. Maybe trying to get Draining Kiss chip. Although that's going to heal them more than it than damages them with the Rocky Helmet. Yeah, not even close. And I think this time we decide to go for an Alluring Voice. And if they're going to shift gear, then maybe we can confuse them and get them to hurt themselves a million times in a row. But they're definitely scouting for Mirror Coat, because otherwise they would just be attacking us. So good play by them. We do 1%, literally. And we are able to confuse them. So we just need a couple confusions in a row. It is at either +2 or +3 at this point, so confusion damage is going to do something. But we aren't able to get it. And they do reveal last move to be Store Power, which is a really cool set. I know that Zand had said Magearna hadn't done much this season and wanted to finally have it pop off, so congratulations, it definitely popped off this week. Stored Power. That's crazy. A lot of damage. So yeah, they managed to get their Magearna up to the point where they knew that they could take out Aloe without having to worry about Mirror Coat. And then Magearna is going to pick up the last kill on our poor Giratina. So great play by our opponent. I don't know what we're looking at here. Hex. Not going to do anything. And they break out. So no chance of getting that confusion damage. Thanks everybody for watching. Go check out our opponent's side. Zan's a cool guy, broken team, etc. Yeah, we'll be back for next week, and that should be it. So yeah, thank you. Bye.